Hey guys, it's Black and Blue here. Part 2 of our social distance skating, and right now I am at an abandoned wing of the ACC campus. Say hello, ACC. Well, not all the way abandoned, I guess, because there are a few cars here, but it is closed down right now, which means perfect skate opportunity. Probably they would not like that. Okay, so let's go over some skating basics. So the first thing to talk about is I don't love street skating. It gives me a lot of anxiety because I don't like the unpredictability of it. I really like going to skate parks because I know that everything there is there for me to skate on. But street skating, it's just so unpredictable, and you can hurt yourself. And I mean, I guess you can hurt yourself anywhere where you're skating, but for some reason in my brain, street skating is just worse. It's one of the things I would like to get better at. So I figured, well, we're doing quarantine, why not try now? The first thing is pads, gear. Here is my gummies. In addition to the proper wheels, I always have a helmet on when I'm skating outside, sometimes inside, depends. I always have wrist guards and knee pads. The set I'm wearing right now are part of the Moxie pad pack. They are definitely okay, but they're very pretty, so there's that. The next thing we have to talk about is hydration. So whenever I'm on a street skate that's long, or just really almost any street skate, I take a bottle of water with me. But especially with street skating, or really any skating outside, or really any skating at all, it's really important to stay hydrated. So I always bring a small bottle of water in my backpack if I'm doing like a downtown street skate. The next thing is a tater tot tip, which is to keep your feet, oop, there's a car. I wonder if someone's gonna tell me to leave. Which is to keep your feet staggered, just like you would at the skate park, but maybe even a little bit more, just to make sure you're stable, and to keep your weight in your heels. The reason for this being, if you go over a crack and all your weight is in your toes, you'll fall. But if it's in your heels, you'll be okay. As long as your first two wheels go over the crack, you'll be fine. Thanks, Brittany, for that tater tot tip. So our next thing is to do ship bricks. What are ship bricks? Ship bricks are these terrible things, which are not terrible. They're invented to make it so that blind people don't run into the street. But they're terrible to me because when you're trying to skate for the first time outside, it really sucks to go over them. So let me give you some tips how to get over ship bricks. So I like to get a little bit of speed, not too much, just a little bit. Keep staggered, keep my weight in the back of my heels, and just go for it. All right, a little bit of speed, stagger, whoop. And they will eat your speed, so be careful that you don't just like fall from lack of speed. So the next thing that I have found really helpful, especially for street skating downtown or in any busy area, is to be able to kind of monoline. It doesn't have to be a perfect monoline. Monoline is where your feet are in line, in one line, aka mono. In order to monoline, you're gonna wanna stay staggered and have one foot kind of go in front of the other. Now the reason this is helpful is because if you're in a crowded space, it's really convenient to get around people if your feet are lined up. If you're taking up a bunch of space horizontally, then you're gonna tend to bump things a little bit more, and that might cause you to fall. Okay, so here is a monoline. I like to get a little bit of speed and line them up. They're not perfectly in line, but they're a little bit more in line than my regular stance, which is more like this. This way, I can weave in and out of people. Another tip for ship bricks is, if it is possible, if there's a gap in between where the curb starts and the ship bricks end, you can monoline and go down that gap, and then that way you don't have to worry about going over the ship bricks if they're particularly bad ones, because some are worse than others. So see that gap right there? That's where we're going to monoline up, but we can need a little bit of speed first because it is a little bit uphill. Here we go. Whoop. Ship bricks avoided. So one texture that you might encounter a little bit in your street skating is a brick texture, something like this. So you see these bricks here. These ones aren't so bad. Some of them are worse to skate over. So the way to skate over them safely and not fall is to not lift your feet as much. So I recommend a bubble, and hopefully you know how to bubble, and if not, let me know, we'll do a video on it. Every skate obstacle, it's good to get a little bit of speed first. And now bubbles. Bubbles. Okay, so let's talk about going downhill. Here we have a hill. It's not that intense. Whoop, let me hand you up there. Not that intense, just a little bit small, just to get us started. If you're not comfortable going down a hill backwards, you can go down forwards, but I would recommend that you make sure you have plenty of time to stop comfortably. So the best way to go down a hill, or one of the safest ways I've found, is to go backwards, which is a little bit scary because you're hurtling backwards down a really long hill, but it's not that bad. Once you get used to it, definitely start on something smaller and work your way up. This one is not terrible, pretty mellow, so we're gonna try it real quick, and it still does scare me every now and then, and I get anxiety over it, so when I do, I just stop real quick, let myself breathe for a second, and then keep going. And the beauty of being backwards is I can stop whenever I want. So let's give it a whirl. I'm gonna go whoop, transition, and hopefully I don't drop this gimbal. See, we're going really slow, but we're gonna start picking up speed. You're gonna find these little bumps, just keep your weight in your toes. So now I'm going a little bit faster than I'm comfortable with, so I'm gonna take a second, breathe, it's okay. You're gonna get through this, you've done it before. And go. Woo! 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 Okay, a little bit fast, we take a break. There's a car passing by, probably like, what is that woman doing with that stick in her hand? So of course, over time, I'd like to be able to just go down a hill all the way without stopping multiple times. From where we're at now, the hill's not too bad. It's barely anything. So I think I'm okay with going forwards for right now, since I'm more comfortable in a forward stance. So I'm just gonna finish my little hill, my baby hill bomb like this. Woo! It's always fun having speed you don't have to work for. It's like one of the best parts about skating. That's why I like ramps so much. And we're safe. Okay, so you may already know this from going to skate parks and stuff, but how to get up a particularly long hill is to kick out just like you normally would when you're skating, but go a little bit wider. Think about your legs when you're normally skating as a V, and then when you're trying to go up the hill as like a U, like go a lot wider, like this. And we made it to that top of the hill that we went down earlier. Ooh. Ta-da! So my next tip, which might seem a little bit like no shit, is to take a break, because especially street skating, like I do get anxious. It is really taxing on your body to go long distance skates, but also it's nice to breathe. So if you feel overwhelmed or like you need a breath, don't be afraid to just tell your friends like, hey, we need to sit for a minute, I can't breathe, give me a minute. Maybe it's only me that gets anxiety during street skating. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you also get anxiety during street skating or any kind of skating. When do you get anxiety skates? Alright, well, that's it for now. I will see you next time, hopefully at a skate park. Stay safe and stay healthy.